Adventurous kids explore with education and learning what a wild life is in the Everglades. I want to explore the Museum of Discovering Science. What plants do butterflies like? I want to know about Key West adventurous kids, learning and fun. Adventurous kids!
Today, I'm going to be telling you about unions. So unions are a very, very important part of working or doing any career in any Western country, but particularly here in America. What a union does is a group of people who work and do the same job, and they basically say, we agree together collectively that there are certain bare minimum requirements our employer should be making to make sure that we're getting paid fairly. We're getting benefits that we should be getting. We're getting the time off that we should be getting, right? So these are all things that unions fight for. Unions started in the 18th century in Industrial Revolution Europe. So actually the idea of a union, the idea of people coming together and fighting for a common cause in the sense of this work environment needs to be improved, started in Europe, but did make its way to America. So when you have a union, one of the things unions will do is so for example, if you have a company and say the boss isn't paying workers fairly, asking them to work long hours without a break, putting them in dangerous situations, dangerous life-threatening situations, right? The workers all get together and they say, this needs to change. And when the boss says, absolutely not, the workers say, we say strike. They go on strike. And what strike means is, I'm not gonna work, you're not going to get the benefit of my labor until you meet my bare bones requirements of this is what it will take to get me to do your job, which is fair, right? Everyone should be worried about being compensated fairly for the work that they do. So there are many different types of unions. Most jobs have them. There are teachers unions, there are foreman unions. Probably the most famous union is one called the Teamsters. And again, their whole purpose is to come together and make sure that workers are being treated fairly. I will say unions work differently from state to state. Those are state laws. Here in Florida, we are what's called a rights to work state, which means people can hire individuals outside of unions. Most states require companies to hire people that are within a union. How does that impact things? So for example, if you're in the entertainment industry, it's actually cheaper for you to come film here and shoot your project here in Florida than it is to do in California, because in California you have to hire union cameramen, union gaffers, union craft and services people on top of union actors, right? Whereas if you come to Florida, you can hire people for that project outside of unions, which means no one's fighting for them to be treated correctly, paid fairly. So you have a lot of long hours and little pay. I will say one of the more interesting strikes that happened here in America was the Newsy strike that happened in the 1800s. There's even a whole musical made about it called Newsies. So basically a bunch of paper boys got together and said, hey, you keep increasing the cost for us to buy the paper, and we can't keep up with that and because we try to increase the price on our end and then people are mad at us and won't buy our papers. And so they got together, and also the Newsies boys were not being treated correctly. Many of them lived in group homes together, and there was a lot of mistreatment going on. So they got together, they had a strike, they said, we're not selling papers anymore. People need the news. This was before television, right? These big titans of industry had to crumble before these paper boys because they could not sell their papers without the paper boys. And that is the power of unions. Thank you for watching this Adventurous Kids episode.
What did you learn today?
Adventurous Kids.
Adventurous Kids.
What was the most interesting fact?
Adventurous Kids.
Adventurous Kids.
Adventurous